I am a national award-winning performance poet and author from Baltimore in Shaker right now, and I know it is because I practice this thing called radical self-love. What is radical self-love? Well, to Sonia Renee Taylor and her organization, The Body is Not an Apology, radical self-love is the lifelong commitment to the belief that your body, size, race, sexual orientation are assets that don't need fixing, yet are advantages that you should build your life around and capitalize on. And to me, it's all of those things, but it's also looking in the mirror once a week and saying, I am the most important person in the world to me. I accept that person, I admire that person, and I will do everything in my power to see that person's dreams come true. And it sounds simple, but ask yourself, when's the last time you said it? Can you say it? I've worked with performers who, before working with me, couldn't even look themselves in the mirror, dodging their own reflections. And why was it so hard? Why is it hard to say these things to ourselves? Well, simply, it is because we don't believe it. It's a gross generalization, but I will say it that today, as Americans, the people in this room, most people sitting in these chairs, do not believe in themselves to be grander than anything we are today. We're not dreaming up a future where we are powerful, more peaceful, more happy. We think it's not for us, and that is a problem. This is my mom. She died when I was 14 from alcoholism. I moved to Shaker, 10th grade, and I developed an eating disorder, binge eating. And when I asked myself, how did I get through all of that, a successful person? It is literally because through it all, I had this conception in my mind that I was good enough. I was cool. My entire being was God's hot topic, and anyone who didn't agree with that was whack. You were irrelevant to me if you didn't think that I was good enough. And when you do that, when you look the world in the face like you have a right to be here, you have attacked the entire power structure of the Western world. And they will call you egotistical, but it is a lie. They're wrong. Keeping that voice alive saved my life because it inspired curiosity about myself. And how could I not succeed when I was curious about my purpose and my limits? And that is the formula. If your kids are failing, it is because you are spending too much time pressing the outside world into them instead of pushing what is inside of them to the outside world, and they can feel that. And they don't like that. Can I write a book? Can I do a TED Talk? Can I go to college? Once you act on radical self-love and self-esteem, these questions quickly become statements. I can write a book. I did that when I was 19. I can do a TED Talk. I'm kind of doing that today. I can do these things. I can survive depression. I did that yesterday. But people will never begin to ask themselves these questions if they don't even care about themselves. Well, what does caring about yourself mean? As a student, it means knowing deep down in your heart that you are more important than any assignment your teacher can give you, and that anything your teacher can do for you, you can do for yourself better. And they know that, but you don't, and that's a problem. They know that you have just as much power in the classroom as they do, but you don't, and that's a problem. And as a teacher, what is radical self-love? It is believing deep down in your heart that you are more important than any limitation the administration can put on you. More important meaning you have to make sacrifices to see your vision of what a perfect classroom should look like materialize. You are more important than the restrictions put on you by the state of Ohio to perform, and you have to know that radically, or we are lost. When you do not act on your self-esteem, thank you. When you do not act on your self-esteem, you aren't loving yourself. And when you aren't loving yourself, you are failing at life. So here are 4 things you can do to reap the fruits of radical self-love. 1, what's your thing? Find that thing that you can do for hours and lose yourself in that skill that when you're doing it, you feel cool, productive, important, challenged. There's a quote by Howard Thurman. It goes, "Do not ask what the world needs. Ask what makes me come alive, and do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive." So find your thing, do it copious amounts of hours, become the best who has ever done it, and that is a form of self-love too. If you're Black, know your history. Why? Because your Blackness is at the top of the list of the things that the United States has and will continue to use and misconstrue in order to get you to dislike yourself, and that's real. You need to know that there's another way of being in the world, alternative ways of living other than the way you've been living, and if you study Black history, you will know that. Kanye West said, "I make Black history every day. I don't need a month." But it's Black History Month, so I'll do a poem. Mother, may I have a little room to breathe. Meat clings to its hip bones, big bodies and booties and lips and noses. Black culture knows it's different and is very self-conscious. Earned the lowest SAT scores out of all the cultures for the 10th year in a row. Black culture can't get with the program. So Black culture says, forget the program. We've been multitasking since conception. Chop the wood, assemble the chariots, swing low, double dutch with double consciousness, you ain't know. Black culture sewed the buttons down Miss Mary Max's back. You better ask somebody, we spiritual like that. Want a candlelight, visual, every day. For 14-year-old body beaten beyond recognition, shot though already dead, and thrown into the Tallahatchie River for a whistle at a white female. Wishes a candlelight visual for Trayvon Martin every day. Troy Davis every day. Mike Brown every day. Tamir Rice every day. We spiritual like that, but lately been lacking leadership. Want our leadership back. El-Haj Malik El-Shabazz, Medgar Evers, Dr. King, Michael Jackson. Direct and indirect assassination. Black boys be 77% of the NBA, only 12% of the nation. Black culture bees in the trap and in the White House, all upside Michelle's head, bellowing, "This is my jam." So much jamming, pressing, pushing, cramming, squeezing glue between kinky and yucky hair, broke, and can't afford to be sad. So Black culture is continuously and contagiously joyous about life. Thank you. Trucking along here. 3, third step to reap the benefits of radical self-love. Police the people in your head. There's a quote, police the people in your head. There's a quote that goes, if you talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself, they probably wouldn't be your friends anymore. Because our heads are filled with thoughts from other people that we let in and simmer and grow, and it's not true, most of the things, but we let it infest us. We have to start policing the people in our heads. The way I do it is by writing and keeping these writings in my view at all times. This is my dorm room in college. These are things on my wall. You heard it. When I got the call, I thought to myself, I am totally unqualified and I am not good enough. but I had to make the self-love step and say, I am good enough. My voice matters. My life matters. And we all know it's true. I know it's hard to believe, but it is true. And the fourth step is most important, and it's hard to do, but it is, when it's hard to do, the most important to do, and that is give self-love to others. That means when you're here and you hear someone around you say something like, man, I would apply to that, but I would do that, but I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough. It is your responsibility to say, yo, stop that. You can't say that type of stuff about yourself. This dedication to radical self-love is not just about ourselves. It is about not letting weakness in your circle at any time. Kendrick Lamar, rapper, musical artist, poet, writer, wrote a song and debuted it 6 months ago called I. Has anyone ever heard of I? SNL, In Love. I was in Africa when I heard it, died. I want us to read the lyrics of I together. So these are the lyrics. The ones in green are yours, the ones in black are mine. When I point to you, I want you to say your lyrics, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3. The world is a ghetto with big guns and picket signs. But it can do what it wants whenever it wants. I don't mind. Dreams are reality's piece. I blow steam in the face of the beast. The sky could fall down, the wind could cry now, the strong in me will still smile. That song is so important because it shows that Kendrick knew something was so wrong in his world, which is our world, that he needed to release a song declaring nothing other than, I love myself. That's weird, but it's because he knows there's a direct connection between the condition of the outside world and the condition of our self-esteem. And we know it to be true in the classroom. The kid comes in, isn't curious. The student, teacher comes in and sees the kid isn't curious. They lose their self-esteem and lose faith in the kid. The kid loses self-esteem, and we have a classroom full of stagnation, resentment, and low self-esteem and not learning. And I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying that the world outside is ugly because you have low self-esteem. And if you fix yourself, the world would magically become better. But I am saying a huge part of fixing things is for all of us to get off of our butts and go against the grain. And you cannot muster the power to go against the grain unless you truly believe that that would be powerful. I'm here today to tell you that your voice matters, your life matters, and I know it's hard. When someone's trying to hand you this self-admiration, you don't know what to do with it because your whole life you've been told that you're only as good as what you can produce for someone else, but you cannot accept that. You are better than that. So, when Ted called me and they tried to hand me my self-admiration, I said, I don't know what to do with this, but then I took it and I'm not gonna give it back. I'm gonna reap the benefits of it because there's this thing when you think highly of yourself, it really gets people into you for some reason. And it is because it is a subtle subconscious reminder to them that it is okay for them to love themselves just the way that they are. Well, someone has to start it, so I'm here, and I will see you at the top.